the power of thanksgiving. This is really a special, special day for me for many reasons. One of them is spirituality comes in pieces. You just don't become spiritual. Part of it is love. Part of it is forgiveness. A big part of it is peace. And a huge part of it is gratitude and thanksgiving. So I want to start by saying good morning, beautiful. Thank you. It is a beautiful morning, and so are you. I feel so grateful that you're here today to honor that feeling of gratitude and the bounty of our life and the feast. Please join me in an opening affirmative prayer. One creator of all bounty, one source of all harvest, one Spirit present in our hearts and in our fields. I am this great bounty, and I am always in the process of revealing my thankfulness for this great experience called life. As I mature and grow spiritually and mentally, I express my joy and delight in being an instrument of peace. I have a storehouse of all the great memories. I call it the granary of my mind. And those memories return to me at the instant I need them in my life. All is well. With great gratitude for this truth, that I am always growing, that there is plenty to harvest, and that life is a feast for the eyes and the heart. I let this go knowing the harvest is assured, the feast is constant, and my life is a bounty. And so it is. And now, as in our song, I invite you just now to go into your heart center and really express gratitude. First, bring your friends to mind and silently say thank you for your friendship. Bring your family into your consciousness and say thank you for the purpose you played. And lastly, bring yourself into your consciousness, your health, your abundance, your wealth. And say thank you to this temple of a body that carries me through this beautiful life. Thank you. Yes? Yeah.
I would just like to let you all know that I am so thankful. My life is wonderful. I have a miracle in my life that lives with me now. My son was an addict for 30 years, and he decided one day that God was worth more than the drugs. So he lives with me, and he takes care of me. So if anybody doesn't believe in miracles, just look at my son, and you'll see the miracle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Reverend.
I had to share it.
Yeah. As I poke her in the eye.
Thank you.
In case you didn't know, that's our beautiful Reverend Gail. And she does a lot for addictions in our community and in our world. So thank you, Reverend Gail. I think for most of us, this is one of our favorite times of year. I was seeing a phrase on something, probably social media, that really told me what it means. It says, Watching the leaves fall off the trees is a reminder how beautiful it is to let go. And what a testament to the beauty of creation. I might say God a lot today because I'm just really feeling the beauty out there. Oh, the aurora borealis, the sunrises, the sunsets. Just this fall have been magnificent. And the other part of the harvest is remembering that we reap what we sow. I think that we're fashioned after that grain of sand, after a grain of wheat. Because we're the seeds. We're the seeds of universal consciousness that we call the God mind. We are just pure potential. And wow, that makes me feel so relieved. I don't have to do anything. I'm already infinite potential. All I have to do is be. Be willing, be present, and be ready. So I started my talk about gratitude, and then I threw the whole thing out the window. Because what I really want to talk about is what Thanksgiving means to me and why it is so powerful. You know, gratitude is great because it encompasses love, abundance, health, creativity. But gratitude is something we talk about, we offer to somebody else. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to you. Thanksgiving is what you give to yourself. And you know, the more thankful you are, the more you get to be thankful for. And you can look around your own life and see so many things to be thankful for. I've said this before, that I believe the birth of Jesus was the birth of forgiveness, the birth of love, because that was the whole cycle. He came to teach us unconditional love, and he left to teach us unconditional forgiveness. But in between that, there's Thanksgiving. And I know that there's a time in your life, there's probably a time in your life when you think, this was the first day I learned about love. Or this was the first day I learned about peace. Do you remember the first day you learned the truth about Thanksgiving? Well, I do. I'm not even going to tell you how long ago it was, because it doesn't matter. You could be going through this right now. So my story is, a long time ago when I was a single mom and I lived in Vernon, and I was working 2 jobs and I didn't have much, and Thanksgiving was coming. Well, you know, I was in a state of poor me and look what I was dealt, and somebody gave me the Celestine prophecy. So I read the Celestine prophecy, so now you probably know that was like 45 years ago or something. And I started walking around the house. I was living in a motel at that time with my son, and I was walking around the place saying, I'm so grateful for this pull-out couch. That's where I slept, and I'm so grateful that it was winter, and they gave me a deal, and they had a fridge, and I just kept going around saying all the things I was grateful for, because in the Celestine prophecies, they did that, and a plant grew. So I thought, I'm going to do that. So I'm walking around saying thank you to everybody, everything, and the doorbell rings. So I open the door, and there on the step is a basket of food for Thanksgiving. And, you know, I really hadn't thought much about Thanksgiving, only to the extent that I always had people were always coming and going, and you know why they came was because I had a child, so I always had food. So there was always something to eat, and there was always cookies, and I didn't even think twice about what was I going to do for Thanksgiving. And to this day, nobody ever owned up to all putting the stuff in that basket and dropping it on my doorstep. But as I sat there last night, I thought, I know the power of Thanksgiving. Because, you know, you can have lack or you can have abundance. I used to tell people how poor I was. And then I I never really realized that poverty is just a benchmark instilled by society that says you don't have enough. But you know, poverty, lack, doesn't have anything to do with money. It means you're missing something inside. Because like me, you can say thank you and open the door one day and look at that rainbow. That could be your basket at your doorstep. And you can become very resourceful and creative like me and make stone soup. I was telling my girlfriend, I said, guess what? I have a basket of food. Do you want to come for Thanksgiving? Do you know the only thing that was missing was there was no meat. There was no turkey or ham. And she says, I got a great idea because I work at a turkey farm. And at Thanksgiving, the turkey farmer said, if you can catch a turkey, you can have it. Well, we were pretty darn sure we could catch a turkey. But I have to tell you, you can't catch a turkey. But I often think about, how much gratitude for that farmer to even do that. There were people that caught a turkey, but it wasn't us. We were too busy laying in the mud laughing. It was so crazy. So we didn't have any meat. And then we're rooting through our cupboards, and we decided we're going to have tuna casserole for Thanksgiving. Oh, thank God we had tuna. I got to tell you the other side of that story. Don't make tuna casserole for Thanksgiving. Your friends will not appreciate it. And as I was recalling that, as I was writing that, I was thinking, I think we need to do that again. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if we just went to somebody's house and put a basket on their front step with a bag of apples, a pumpkin, anything. Because the glory and the joy that brought me when I opened my door. And I was at Lori's one day, and somebody came by and just brought her a gift. And she was showing me all these rocks and all the gifts that Creator had sent her. I bet people leave stuff on your doorstep a lot, Lori, because that's what I would do. So we didn't catch a turkey. We didn't like our tuna casserole. But I was reminded of a scripture back then. And it was from Corinthians. And it says, all this is for your benefit. It's a favorable outcome so that the grace that is reaching more and more people may cause thanksgiving to overflow to the glory of God. And in Thessalonians it says, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you. Well, I thought about that for a while. All this is for my benefit? Running around chasing a turkey and having a tuna casserole. But I think what they're saying is, whatever you're dealt in life, that's your life. Be thankful for it. Make something of it. Because you always have something. Truly, there's not one person in the world that has no thing. You always have something. So there's something to be grateful for. There is one word within grace, within gratitude, that I wanted to talk about, and it's called grace. Do you know grace is a state of thanksgiving for something you didn't deserve? I think that's a great thing. To just show someone grace. That means they didn't have to do anything. They didn't really give you anything. They didn't have to earn it. You just offer them grace. And I have to tell you, as I was writing all these words down, I thought, oh my gosh, the whole world needs to hear this. That we need more grace. Because grace is a state of happiness. All this is for your outcome. So the more gratitude you express, the more your life overflows in a state of absolute happiness. And that's how I received my abundant bounty on my doorstep. I lived in gratitude. I'm a pretty visual person. And I want to use an analogy that I use sometimes to open me up to infinite bounty, to an adequate supply. And maybe, I just want you to just imagine in your greatest creative mind. I'm standing on an ocean, and I turn around, and the ocean's at my back, and I can hear the waves lapping towards the shore, and in front of me, there appears a staircase. It's a beautiful staircase, stairway to heaven maybe, and it's wide at the bottom and narrow at the top. And you get to decide what's at the top of that staircase. I'm going to use the word abundance. And I want to tell you that Ernest Holmes says in one of his books, he says, if you don't know what to do an affirmation for, you don't know what you need in your life, you can just say, good and more good is mine. Good and more good is mine. So at the top of that staircase, I imagine abundance. Whatever that means, whether for me it means people in my life to support my journey. So there's all these people standing up there. For you, it might be health. So on the top of that stairs is your bright, infinite, spiritual, all energy self standing there just dancing like a little pixie waiting for you to get there. And that's what's standing between your reality and your divinity. On the bottom is reality. You don't have to stay there. At the top is your divinity. So with each step you take, you can affirm whatever brings your manifestation into your vision. I am going to focus on support. I think we can all use people in our life to support our journey. So at the top of those stairs, I can't even see their faces, but there's people waiting for me. And maybe I don't know what I want to say as an affirmation, so I just take that first step, good and more good is mine. And take the next step, and good and more good is mine. Ernest Holmes said sometimes you have to say it 1,000 times. Good and more good is mine. And as I climb these stairs, those faces are getting clearer and clearer. The faces are in this room. This is my support network. And the good and more good that's mine, I'm bringing it to them. And they are reflecting it back to me. And as I get to the top of the stairs, it could be 8, it could be 88. You could have ran up those stairs. And as I stood at the top, all these people in this room, and all those who aren't in this room, but you are calling into your energy, surround you, and hug you, and hold you, and honor you, and affirm to you. You're right, good, and your good is yours. And we're here to make manifest, to be a witness to your amazing, amazing journey. So at the top of the stairs is a beautiful field of wildflowers, and it opens up. And we hold hands. And we walk through that field of beautiful wildflowers and the abundance of friendship, support, and thanksgiving. And as you're standing in that field, you can open your eyes, and the message behind that journey up those stairs is that is the law of vibration. That is the law of attraction. You attract who you are. You start at the bottom expecting good and more good is coming your way. You start creating that energy in your heart, like that thanksgiving, to be thankful for stuff. You start creating it. Sometimes the principle I think about is birds of a feather flock together, because that's what nature means when they talk about the law of vibration. We attract people and circumstances that are vibrating at the same range of frequency that we are. To understand the power of flocking together, that's the leading edge of our world awakening. We come here Sundays just for that purpose, to be with like-minded people, with people of the same vibration. And we also come for the food, but not always the feast. And just as when I was so young and so broke, people came to my house and I thought it was for the food. But as I grew later in life, I realized it was for community. They came for community. And you guys come here for community. And I wish that there was 27 of me so I could sit with David and Tress, and I could sit with you and you and you and you and you and you and every one of you and have a 15-minute conversation. But that's not possible. So whoever you're sitting with today, it's your job. It's your purpose to be a community to them. In one of our ministry trainings, they said 80% of what people get from church is community. The talk's only 20%. That really bummed me out. But 80% is what you say after. And I really want to encourage that whatever I talk about sparks the opportunity to talk about what you just heard about. There are even other ministers that sit right here after and say, I'll stay after. Do you have anything you want to ask me about? And for me, that's too limiting, because I think I don't have all the answers. Carmen's got some of them. Reverend Gail's got some. Reverend Tress has some. You're going to get a different answer from everybody. You're only going to get one truth, though. There's only thanksgiving, love, and peace. Ernest Holmes says, thanksgiving multiplies our good. And thanksgiving is so important, it's one of the steps of affirmative prayer. Here we teach, and I think this is our hook, we teach people how to manifest things in 5 easy steps. And the first one is, we call it God is, but it doesn't have to be God. The first thing you need to know is there's a power for good in the universe greater than you are. So you can call it God is. And the second part is, and you can use it. Because you're created from a creation that's all peace, joy, and love. God is, and so am I. And that's when you're plugged into a power greater than you are, you can say anything you want, it becomes true. Good, bad, and ugly. But you can say, I am healthy, wealthy, loving, and wise. One of our ministers says that. Or, good and more good is mine. Because you're plugged into a power, it's already working. It's attracting to you what you need. And after you do that affirmation, like so many people just want to do the affirmation, I'm healthy, wealthy. Well, if you have to say it 108 times, you're probably not plugged into the power greater than you are. Because you only should have to say it once and then say thank you. Thank you for what's already manifesting in my life. If I'm doing an affirmation for support for people, I'm thankful. Thank you for all those people in my life. The ones that ate the tuna casserole, the one that chased a turkey with me, the ones that are here today, the ones that played piano. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe that should be the longest part of the affirmative prayer. And then you let it go. You have total faith that what you said is acted on because your word is a power into which it's spoken. So Ernest Holmes' instruction is to repeat his affirmation was always good and more good is mine. Sometimes Reverend Judy would say, this or something better. Reverend Valentine says, I'm healthy, wealthy, loving, and wise. What do you say, Reverend Therese? Each day is a gift. Reverend Gail? I am healthy, wealthy, and abundant. Because when you teach classes, you teach the same thing over and over. What treatment do you want? What affirmation do you want? And so ministers have one that's their go-to. And Ernest Holmes just happens to be good and more good is mine. And he'll lend you have it because it didn't come from him. It came from a power greater than you are. So the moral of my story is to open the gates of your consciousness. And you'll never know how much bounty you can embrace with your arms are folded and your heart's closed. So you can only embrace the world with your arms open and your heart open and reap the harvest. Embrace Thanksgiving and witness the bounty all around you. One of the things Ernest Holmes talks about in his gratitude talk was journaling. He was a big advocate of journaling. You probably know that because he wrote almost 100 books. He has a poetry book. He just wrote and wrote and wrote. So he suggests, and Thanksgiving, you should write down, at that time it was 30 days from Thanksgiving to Remembrance Day. Every day, write down one thing you're grateful for. You don't even have to put I'm grateful for it. Just put a little paper on your wall, and one day it's the sun, the moon, my friends, my supper. And do that for 31 days. And then tell me what happened. Tell me what changed. And you know what'll change? You'll change. You will change. Because where gratitude goes, love flows. And it flows in you and through you. And as I conclude, I'd like you to join me in a closing prayer. One Spirit, one Creator, one God. In the quiet of my mind, I know at the deepest level, that is who I am. I am the outpicturing of who I am at the core. And I choose today to be clear, whole, and thankful from my core out into the world. As we are all in this experience called life, co-creating a life of peace and prosperity, I know they are the truth for each person here who claims them as their own, because this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All there is gratitude and thanksgiving. All is for our bounty, good and more good, for each other, for our life, and for our truth. I let this go as an awareness washes over me, declaring that I am abundance. I am the bounty, and I accept it. I let it go confidently with unconditional love. And so it is. This week I challenge you to think of when was the day you learned about love? When or what was the instance that you learned about peace? And maybe today is the day you learn about Thanksgiving. I am Reverend Joanne Faith, peace and love Boruck. And I wish you a Thanksgiving filled with gratitude, love, a real turkey, and no tuna casserole. And so it is.